second chances do happen in life, right?
Wow.
And I felt like if I was going to write a story backwards, then it has to be a second chance story.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to From the Script, a platform for my authors, my scribers, my TV, film, and songwriters. This is where they're able to peel back the letters of their stories and so much more. I am your host, Armourie, and I'm delighted to be here with you all today. I have a powerhouse. Let me say it again. I have a powerhouse joining us, okay? He is the owner of Yo Smoon Productions. He is a producer. He is a writer. He is a major component of the Houston Film Commission. Let me run it back. I said the Houston Film Commission. Please help me welcome my dearest friend, Martin, a.k.a. Yo Smoon. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me out here. You know, like I feel the energy. I feel the vibe, you know. Thank you so much. You feel it? I can feel the tingling sensations happening all the way around already. You know, shout out to you for having me out here. Shout out to behind the scenes. I see you, Khary. I see you. Let's go. You know, thank you for having me out here, and I'm just waiting to get this started, man. I want to just share everything that's been going on, so then that way everyone could learn a little bit more, you know, and get inspired, you know, and hopefully work on something in the future.
Wow, cool. That's so powerful. Like, I'm trying to get out of my head of saying the word powerful, but I just can't help it when I deal with so many powerful individuals and, like you said, the impact that you're trying to pour into individuals. So, wow, please just... You know, we got to give the people what they want, okay? Right. Let's run it back. Okay. Let's peel back one layer and
let's go.
Help us understand how you came to be about where you are today.
Yeah, up and foremost, got to give glory to God.
Amen.
You know, Jesus Christ is the way. Mm-hmm. You know, if it wasn't for teachings and guidance and my salvation, I wouldn't be here right now. You know, there's a lot of different places that I think I could have ended up at, but, you know, thank God, you know, God had a different calling for me. Now, let me be real. I didn't know this was going to happen the way things are happening right now. You know, like this wasn't something that, you know, when asked in school, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? This wasn't something that I blurred out and said. And if you really want to know what I said a garbage man. And I got in trouble for saying I wanted to be a garbage man, but I thought it was pretty cool to ride in the back of the truck. Anyways, but
almost like how that moment in what was it, Biggie? I think he got into it with his teacher because his teacher tried to downplay.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know, but that's the thing. But like everyone wants to say that it all came from a dream, right? Like how Biggie says, you know, this wasn't a dream for me. This wasn't, you know, this was something that was called upon me, right? Wow. You know, so this is something that wasn't something that it was I crafted, that I set my mind to. No, this was not on the cards when I was coming up, right? So, but I saw moments of it, you know, and that's when I began to, you know, harness those moments. So, one of the things that I saw was I was horrible in English composition, right? I wasn't. I'll say it. I was a lazy reader. You know, it was more about like, here, pass me the ball instead of pass me a book. You know, so I was that kind of like I had that kind of attitude about like English writing and formatted writing and things like that. But I also saw that when I did decide that I would be disciplined enough to fall under that format, then I saw that people were gravitating to some of my stories. Wow. And it went from, okay, people like some of my stories. Then I started getting a little bit more creative with them, exploring my imagination. And you know, like that was one of the things that I wasn't used to doing was like, you know, explore my imagination. What is this? You know, like I was had that like that hard head mentality where it's like, really stubborn, really, take life by the horns type stuff, and not like really trying to do something creative, right? And it was in that moment where I had an injury where I had to slow down. I was in a brace, and that's when I was about to fail English, so I had to do a lot of extra projects, to bring my grade up, and I had to write a poem for the school's like yearly, literature, pamphlets that they have and stuff like that. And I was like, "Are you serious? You're really gonna have me write a poem?" And it was weird. Locking myself. I was about like 15 years old when this happened, and it was just about the time where I was saved,
Wow.
I was going through a lot of like spiritual battles, like and like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Things were manifesting, in the world.
Wow.
I was seriously being attacked. Like I was like, oh my goodness, and it wasn't me, but it was also my family, and I get to say that now. But when I was going through it, I was just going through it, and I didn't see it like that. But now that I get a chance to reflect, I'm like, wow, I was being challenged to do what I'm doing now, even then.
Come on.
And it took a moment where I had to be still. I had to break my leg. I didn't really break my leg, but, I hyperextended my knee.
But why don't you do it?
And that put me down. It slowed me down, and then it made me focus on creative writing.
Wow.
And that was the pivot that I used to begin to express what was going on inside. There was a lot of anger inside of me, and a lot of times when a lot of us, when we come up and we have a lot of anger built up inside us because we're looking left and right and saying, hey, why is this happening to me and not the next person? So I had a lot of that I was expressing myself through sports, getting it all out through sports. Yeah. And in the moment where I couldn't run, then all of that just was
just compacted in.
I was like, and then being saved on top of that, then I was like, oh my God. My dad was like giving me these books, make sure you read this book, and get through it all, and it was that it was breaking the chains. It was breaking the chains. That's and after that, I developed my creative writing a lot. I started liking my alone time for me just to pen some stuff down. Then I'll read it back, later on down or a couple months. Now it's years. I have some of the stuff that I still wrote like back in the day. And I look at it and I'm like, I didn't write this.
Wow.
There's no way that I could have written that, but in a way I'm right, in a way I'm wrong. Yeah, you're wrong because it was you. And you're right because you're a different person now. And that kind of helped me get past a lot of different things. But don't get it twisted. I'm a veteran too. So like 11-year veteran. I served both my countries, I like to say. I served the Puerto Rico National Guard and the United States Army,
Awesome.
So
thank you for your service.
Oh, no doubt, thank you for your support, because that's another thing too. We don't get a lot of support.
Which is sad. That's a whole man. That's a rabbit hole I don't even want to go down, because you already know how I feel about that.
I mean, but the thing is like, see, all these things is still. We still didn't see this producer yet, like all these different things that was happening to me. We saw a driven athlete turned to I don't like saying it, but a militant, and then from that, leaving those ranks, I challenged myself to do something that I was not good at in high school, and that was writing. So I knew from that moment on, I would always have my career because I'm challenging something that I know. Well, I knew that I wasn't really too good at, and that's when I challenged myself to do these things. And then from that, I wrote my my own screenplay. So this was the story. Like I was trying to figure things out, after the military, and I decided that from picking up rifles and shooting rifles, I was going to stop doing that, and I was going to start picking up cameras and shooting that. So that was my therapy of coming out of the ranks.
Wow.
But again, we don't see that producer yet, right?
That's very powerful. As you were speaking, just the word perseverance was coming to my mind. And you mentioned something that it's like you saw visions of this, and I love how God will show you glimpses of your life when you're young, and you don't even know why he's showing you that or how it even ties into your overall life. And so to hear the journey, the obstacles that you face, the challenges, like you went from being the athlete, being like, I know you don't like being called that, but being the militant, and then birthing this producer out of you, like that is just on point, and it's just crazy to see how everything is turning out. So you mentioned your first screenplay, so tell us a little bit about that.
So the adventures of writing anything, right? The adventures of writing that, it was a challenge because number one, I didn't know how to write a screenplay. And I knew what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a screenplay, but to be a blockbuster, but it also to rhyme, right? And after doing a lot of research, poetry is not very marketable back then when I started, right? That's what they were saying. So then another challenge. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna use my creative writing, and I'm gonna learn how to format a script, and I'm gonna put them together.
Wow.
And it's called the Kawaii. It's I awake backwards.
I awake backwards, like eyeball awake, or like I awake backwards.
Yeah, I awake.
Interesting.
So Kawaii. I self-published it. I went and I sent a copy to the Library of Congress. It's on Amazon, so like, and I just wanted to do it just to be able to do it. But then it started itching me. Well, now that you wrote that, and it took me about like a year and some change to write this, so you have to be disciplined and sit down in the chair to be able to write this,
Can you tell that to me again?
Sit down in the chair and write some pages. Yeah, at least a page a day. And that's how little by little you'll find your pace. The hardest or the most challenging line to write is the first one.
Ooh.
Once that first one gets out of the way, keep reading it back, and you'll see that the rest of it's going to fill itself up.
You saying that literally took me back to when I was in school, grade school, I should say, and really doing that in English class and literally seeing that form of literature come to life. Yeah, like you really took me back. And you said something earlier, and you mentioned it again about sitting still and writing. And you were going in depth about it. How important is it for us to do that?
Yeah, because if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it. That's how important that is. Let's be real. That's how I know I will always have a writing job, because a lot of times I get a lot of ideas, but I don't get a lot of written scripts,
Wow.
And that's one of the first things I like to ask is like, hey, okay, you had this great idea. What have you written so far? And because what happens is what writing does is it takes the intangible and makes it tangible. The unreal, it makes it real.
Love that.
The invisible, it make everything visible.
Wow.
And then I can pass this over to you. I just made my thought, my imagination a real thing just by writing it down.
The power of writing.
Yeah. It's very, 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 very powerful, very powerful. And that's the reason why all of us need to have a responsibility when we write. And again, this didn't formulate until after, all these writings that I did. Like, I got so creative with my writing. So, I got like that itch where it's like, okay, I did this epic, this 120-page full feature screenplay, which I haven't written another one that long yet, but I know that there's segments that I need to write. And it branched from that to I wrote one backwards. Then I wrote one like starting off from like different segments. I wrote something that it like the backwards one is called The Prodigal. And it basically is talking about a biblical story. So there's a lot of reference in my writings that comes from my readings, right?
I love that.
And what I kind of thought up was we have to be loving to everyone, right? Love yourself, or love everyone like you love yourself, right? And that includes thy enemy.
Yeah, as a lot of people don't want to talk about that particular part right there. This episode of From the Script is brought to you by the Creators Guild HTX. Please be sure to tap in with them. They are the one-stop shop for podcasting, production, and so much more. If you are looking to book your next session, please visit theguildhtx.com and just tap in with them. You never know what visions you're able to bring to life with them, so let's get it.
Second chances do happen in life, right? And I felt like if I was going to write a story backwards, then it has to be a second chance story, right? And in there's a story in the Bible that I really gravitate towards. It's Jezebel.
I just finished First Kings this morning, and I'm getting ready to go into Second Kings. That's so funny.
This is how things align, right? So the story of Jezebel, like I feel like it had to be retold because she was misunderstood because she comes from a different land, so she has different traditions, different cultures, and so that's the story of the prodigal. It's almost like the prodigal child, you know, where you're coming back, you know, and that's what I wanted to do, and have a female protagonist, you know, so we can uplift women, you know, in cinema, you know, that's what I wanted to do, and but the thing is like I don't want people to focus on what it sounds like, but the message that's coming across. And that's why the responsibility of messages needs to be very uppermost in all writers' minds, you know, because there's going to be a moment of discernment, and everyone's gonna see that, and there's going to be a lot of difference between that, though.
That's powerful. See, I'm telling y'all, this is the genius right here. My goodness, wow. Yeah. So it's just refreshing to hear, like how you said, the responsibility that someone has with writing. I never even thought about it that way. And to see you, or just to hear you speak about that, it brings another perspective to me. And so when it comes to writing and when it comes to you like getting in that zone, what is your process like of, say, for instance, from whether, like you said, taking something that is invisible and bringing that visible element to it? What is your process?
So now I go into my own kind of form of meditation. I've been practicing a lot of this recently, just because I know that I'm going to places where I need angels fighting before me, you know.
Come on, don't have me. You know how we get. Do not have me running around.
You know, I know where I go to places where it's rough, you know, and. Let's be real. You're not going to see a lot of people look like me going to these places. So a lot of times I get a lot of scrutiny, right? So I already have to be in a mode like how we talked about earlier, right? So I'm walking and praying a lot of times.
Amen.
If you see me that I'm not saying a lot of things, you know, you see me really internal, I'm probably reciting the Lord's Prayer as we were right there, you know. I do it often. That's probably the only prayer that I pray, and it's because the Lord showed it to us for all of us that still don't know what to pray for or how to pray.
Yeah.
This is how you pray.
Yeah.
So that's what goes about. I get into my mind. Very meditative state. I don't begin to write anything, but I'm writing in my head. I don't write one line, one sentence. I'm just sitting there. I'm watching the movie. In other words, you know, like I'm seeing the scenes play out, and that's how I go about formulating this. So then, as soon as I get to see the whole thing, and it happens instantly. You know, sometimes it's not just like, you know, where we're watching a movie and 2 hours go by. No, I see the whole 2 hours probably in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, and it'd be like, boom, I got it. You know, and then it's let's get the writing. You know, and then and you start off like with that block of wood, or you start off with that stone, that rock, and then you start chipping away at the stuff you don't need. Boom, 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 and then little by little, that begins to formulate into your script or any kind of your writings. And that's what happens to me. It's like I'm old school, so I hand
Same
jam.
here.
I write everything by hand, because what that does to me is it slows down my mind.
Ooh.
You know, because a lot of times, especially when we speak, our mind is
Yep.
and then in that moment where I begin to write, number one, it's gonna hurt. Writing hurts, you know. Like, remember back in the day, writing used to be a form of punishment. I will not talk in school.
Yep.
Oh, I got you.
Look, I will not talk in school. I will listen to the teacher. I will not beat this person up again.
Oh,
Let me stop.
oh my goodness. But yeah, that was a form of punishment for us back in the day. So then I take that, like, I'm putting this energy to write.
Yeah.
And for those that ever, here, let me. I'm right here. I'm right here.
There.
Those ever in a meeting with me, you ever see me writing something down and you're not writing something down? Watch out. Watch out.
He said, "Watch out."
Because I'm about to ask you what I'm writing about, and if you don't know the answer, I'm like, you should have wrote it down. All right, back on top. You know, I got to go real quick. That's the producer mode. That was producer mode.
Right. I resonate well with you on that one.
That's the producer mode. But this all came from writing, you know, and I feel like you have to find a stopping point. If not, then those pages will still, they will continue to be filled up. Yeah. I used to do, all right, I'll give you another one. Don't take this. No, go ahead, take it. It's fair. They put it in your toolbox. So I never experienced a writer's block, right?
You get out of my head. Please get out of my head, because I was going to ask you, what do you do when you experience writer's block? Come on, please.
I don't experience a writer's block. And this is how it happens. When you first wake up, you know, give thanks. Give yourself a complete, however long it takes you, let's say an hour.
Okay.
And write just one page. So pray and write whatever comes to your mind, whatever it is, right? Whatever it may be, just write, and then just fill up the page. I'm working on a project right now. It's called In Transit / Rebrink, because see, it's still in development. Trying to get some. Cut
that out.
We're trying to get some vehicle product placements in there, so we're looking for some sponsorships in that way. But this script, the way it was written, I wrote it. Again, I did my poetry thing, but then I introduced a voiceover.
Interesting.
And this voiceover is almost the narrator of everything, but that's what I wrote every morning. So that voiceover that you're getting from that piece of scripture is actually my dream journal.
I love that. Can we pause real quick?
Yeah.
Because I'm curious as to what advice could you give someone like me who, I'm just sharing like my morning routine. In the morning when I wake up, you know, I'd spend time with God. That's one of the very first things that I have to do. Like I'll open my phone to look at the word of the day so I can keep it open, and then I start spending time with him. And what my time spending with him looks like is I do what you just said. I journal on that first page, and I title as prayer, and I just pray, and I just write that on a journal. Then I do my affirmations, and I read a chapter in the Bible and things of that nature. what advice would you give someone like me for implementing that idea of, you know, journaling? Do I just keep going, or like after like my morning session, or should I integrate that in, or what are your thoughts? Because like honestly, like I struggle sometimes with writer's block, and I think it's because I do so much of it for other individuals. And so when it comes to my brand and when it comes to like projects that I'm working on, I find myself struggling in that area. So what advice would you give me?
Number one, do everything with a smile. You know, that's good. That's gonna be the number one thing. Hey, you got to do it with a smile. And look, I'm not gonna tell you that hey, that's how I feel every morning. You know, I'm the opposite, and that's the reason why I say these things. You know, I'm the morning grump. I don't say anything for 2 hours or something like that. But it doesn't mean that I'm not in my meditative state. You know, so and that's what you have to do. For me, it's like, you know, do it with a smile, get into your prayers, enjoy it, you know, try to do something. I like to do a little bit of exercises too, a little calisthenics or some stretching, you know, to get your breathing going. And again, do all of these things while enjoying it. You know, there's no reason for you to be doing something you don't enjoy doing, you know. So then that way, when you start your day, you already have that up feeling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm up, I'm woke, you know, my blood is circulating, you know, God is with us, you know, and let's go ahead and tackle this day no matter what comes up. Yeah. Now, the thing is for journaling, again, let it out, you know, because there's going to be a lot of things that we go through when we're dreaming.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's an hour right before you go into your dream state and an hour after you come out of that dream state. Now, remember, we can be given messages in your dreams, you know, so if during the morning you don't feel like journaling too much, then do it at the end of your day, you know, and talk about what happened in the day and what you're going to do the next day to make it better for you. And then go back and read it. A lot of times people don't read their own stuff. Oh, I know what it says. You know, sure. But a lot of times, you know, when you get to that last page, go read that first page and see if you feel the same way. And then this is okay. I'm gonna give you another thing.
Come on, you see, you drop gems. I love it.
This is what I'm gonna do for myself as a writer. You know, and like I mentioned before, I have a lot of my old stuff still. You know, and that's exactly what I want to do. Yeah, I want to go back and I want to read what that 15-year-old was writing, and then I want to address it as a 40-year-old, you know? If I agree or I disagree, or how would I counsel that 15-year-old? You know, what would I say to him, and that person being me, you know? So then I call it the professional. I'm already giving you the title of it. It was something that my mom always asked me to be in life. She didn't ask me to do many things, but she asked me to do two things for her always. Always be a professional and always be a gentleman. And those two things has carried me all the way through life, you know. And sometimes I forget, don't get me wrong, you know, sometimes I slip. I'm like, oh, professionalism, ooh. Ooh. You know, but you know, but that's why we're all human, you know, and that's why we have to continue along, you know, and find the things that we do enjoy. Fill those pages up, read them back, you know, they're going to motivate you. It reflect on them. So then that way you know where you came from, you know, and it's going to help you when you reach the top of that mountain and you're like, oh, you know, wow, there's another mountain in front of me that now I got to climb. Now turn back and look at how far you already came. So really that's the reason why you're up there. Yeah. You know, you got up there. There's probably a taller, bigger mountain in front of you now.
But at least you got over to the first one.
Look how far you came.
Yes.
You know? So then keep on going, keep filling those pages, you know, good, bad, and indifferent, you know, get all of that out, because I guarantee you, if you like it, there's someone else that likes it, there's going to be a lot more people that like it.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. See, this is why the community is so important. Wow. Are there any forms of writing that you would call, or styles, I should say, that you would consider your favorite?
I really like when people become very freeform.
I love that.
It's it's outside the margins. I think that should be like a way of writing, outside the margins.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby. She 28, telling me I'm still a baby. I get love in Detroit.
If you look at my notebooks, sometimes I'm not within the lines. I'm all over the marginals. I'm drawing pictures, sketches. I'm doing these small little things. I don't write sometimes from left to right. Sometimes it's right to left. Sometimes I start writing from the back of my notebook and then start filling it to the front. And what I do is that's how I would like writing to be. Where it's like, if you were to pick up my notebook, good luck in deciphering that. Because I'll be looking at it. I'm like, I have no idea what I was thinking at that time.
Like that too,
right? But that's what I would consider, to be writing as a whole. And branch out to different languages. Branch out to different languages. The Bible is written in so many different languages. So check out the different translations of the Bible. So then that way you can get a more complete interpretation of what's going on. And remember, I got to bring it up. 2 Timothy, right? 3:16. We have to realize that a lot of writing is inspired by God. All writing is inspired by God, and whether good or bad, And the continuation of that is so that we can teach, so then we can criticize it, So then that way we can all learn from it, So whether you're in good spirits or bad spirits, right? Because God's gonna have a purpose for what you wrote for, Whether it's gonna drive people to God, or a lot of times it's gonna be like questioning where they're at, when they read it, So
wow,
especially a lot of things that's going on right now in politics. We're not gonna get into that.
Ooh, you're right, because it's real ghetto out here in that arena. Whatever. I'm not even, like you said, we're not gonna get into it. We're gonna just moving on. Do you have any favorite authors, favorite writers, favorite screenplay writers?
I dance around a little bit. Paulo Coelho, that's one of the first like books that I sat down and read, was The Alchemist. And come to find out now, that's one of the banned books like now in
really?
Texas.
I didn't even know it was banned. I read it maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah, now this is a banned book, so it's not going to be in the public school system anymore. And
interesting. Why did they ban it?
Well, I'm not too sure. I can't speak for them, but just seeing how The Alchemist is, it's very making gold from lead type thing, right? So I'll give you another gem. Alchemy, it was a study of trying to figure out how to make gold out of other metals and such, So then the idea was chemistry came about to figure out how to make gold from lead. And we solved that riddle today being writers. That lead is now the point of that pencil. And what you put on that paper is gold. You see?
Wow.
That's why, and that's where these studies come from. When you start reading these books that kind of expand your knowledge, kind of doesn't ever give you a limit. Those are what those authors are doing, is expanding you from our own limitations. You can do so much more if you really want to do it. If you really want it, then pray for it. Pray for it with all your heart. And if it's for you, and God allows that for you to be in your path, then it will be.
Come on with the word this morning, okay? This is powerful. My goodness, man. I'm just lost for words, and I really want to say I'm proud of you. I learned so many different elements about who you are, even just from this sit-down conversation. And I've been knowing you, and to see the layers that you've unveiled about how you got into writing, what your inspiration is, and how you even go into that mode of really putting that pen or the pencil to the paper. And I love what you said, when you put that lead to the paper, that's gold. Like that's so powerful. Oh my gosh. We tapped on community a bit earlier, as far as like, just you pouring into me, and just, us having that conversation, because I think I struggle with that a lot. However, I know that on the topic of community, I know that you're very active in the community, and that's one inspiring element that I love. Give us a bit of insight about ways that you're active with the community, and you have you are a major component of the Houston Film Commission. Please, you can't just leave that out.
Shout out to Alfred Cervantes, the executive director out there at the Houston Film Commission. I met him years ago when I was venturing out into the film scene, and I was volunteering at the Houston Cinema Art Society. I met him during that time, and I feel like I was the only person that wanted to have a picture with him, and it was funny. I was like, can I get a picture with you? And then he kind of looks at me and he's like, well, why do you want a picture with me? And I'm like, you're Alfred Cervantes. You're the executive director of the Houston Film Commission. You're like,
why wouldn't I want?
It's like, what's going on here? So we ended up taking the picture. He doesn't remember this too much, but I like to tease him about it. But because of that, that relationship, right? And start writing some of these things down. Start taking notes.
Facts.
If you really want to push forward in what you're doing, you really want to start reaching different networks, different audiences. You want to reach different sponsorships and things of that nature. Start creating those relationships right now, and make those be genuine relationships. A lot of times we go into there with our own, agendas, and we're not really trying to create those relationships. But because I was able to create this relationship with them, and because I was offered the position as our city producer for the 48-hour film project.
Can you run it back? Can you say it again? Say it again.
Our city producer for the 48-hour film project, because I was able to do these things, he granted access to his office and became one of our sponsors. And on top of that, great mentor. He's been showing me a lot of different ropes of how to do things in movies, how to move in Houston, how to really start feeling myself out, and getting the roots down in Houston. He's been the one helping me get through it, and he's always been so grateful. At our, can I throw it out there? First Thursdays at at Cafe Brazil. Ooh, Cafe Brazil. The Houston Film Commission has their showcase, and a lot of times I'm out there showcasing some films here from the 48. And so shout out to them, Houston Media Source. We're gonna go into public access TV, so all these movies, everyone asking where's the movies. So every year that we do this, we're building our library content for Houston, and we're gonna start blasting it over the broadcast stream, so then that way everyone can enjoy these movies. It's incredible to see what people are making within 48 hours. And we just had one this past week, in 2024 season started off July 12th through the 14th. So
oh snap!
I'm doing all the what do you call it, the curating right now. I get to curate all the movies, so going pretty good so far. And all of this boils down from being active in the community. Like if you're not doing anything in the community, do something, volunteer.
Yes.
The Houston Food Bank is really big. You can always go out there and volunteer. They do well things for the community. You see the trucks all over the place. I used to work for them way back when.
How about the connection that we got there?
So like I love these things. Go volunteer for HCAS, Houston Cinema Art Society. They're always looking for people to help them out doing all their screenings and all their festivals. All the live performances and all the festivals, you'll probably see me running around. I do a lot of the promotions, the street promotion too, and all the grassroots like coordination. So, you know, I build these festivals literally from the ground up, you know, and I get to see, you know, all the smiling faces of the community, and that's my job satisfaction at the end of the day, is when I'm up on stage, or you know, or I'm just walking around and I see a whole bunch of people enjoying themselves, really having fun with family, friends, and you know, just being outside, you know, and to me, that's the job satisfaction at the end of the day. There's nothing, you know, no price that you can put on that, you know, and I love it because it's home, you know, so it's like, you know, I get to do this and, you know, and keep building on it, you know, and I just can't wait to see what else is coming. I already know some of the things that are coming up. I already know some of the things that are coming up.
That's powerful, because you mentioned on just like the satisfaction of like doing the work, and I want to pivot back to the 48-hour film project, and thank you again. Like, y'all, this man is so modest right now. You did the one in last year. And I thank him again because he allowed me to come and be a part of the.
She was the judge. Be
thank you for being a part of that. That was my first time ever judging something like that.
So how'd you feel? Let me ask you a question. How'd you feel about that?
You know, that's what I was gonna low key get into. I was truly inspired by seeing, how many teams did we have? Like 27?
Yeah, there were 27 teams last year.
It was 27 teams, and to see what each team produced in 48 hours, I was tearing up. I was crying at the award ceremony whenever we were announcing the winners and things of that nature, and to see the blood, the sweat, the tears that they were putting in to bring forth a professionally produced project following the guidelines. And there were some that didn't make the cut that I didn't even get a chance to see. But to see those 27 films and to see those teams come together, it blew my mind. And to see how young children, young teens, young high schoolers, they were in college.
They were in college.
But just to see them write and bring this forth, like, my goodness, the words can't describe how powerful that was, and then just impactful.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see what organization can do.
Come on.
And this is a shout out to all my media leaders out there. This is how you do it, is by organizing, you know, and remember this, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be done. All right. So then that's going to be a big thing about production. A big thing about art. You ask an artist, a painter, when is your painting done? Never. They can keep painting on top, putting paint. It's never going to be done, you know, because to them, it may be a little bit of like a perfectionist behind it, but a lot of times it's like, okay, stop. It's done, you know? Yeah. So then that's what I like about all these filmmakers, is that a lot happens within 48 hours, but they get the job done.
Facts.
It's filmmaking with a deadline. Again, shout out to Alfred Cervantes. Like, he was the one who put that in my head. You know, that's what I like about the 48. It's filmmaking with a deadline. So it keeps us honest to it. It keeps us accountable to it. And no matter what, we're going to go and we're going to enjoy it, you know, because it was hard work, you know. And we do our best to get it as close as we can to our genuine vision, but it won't never get there. It won't ever get there. There's no way for anyone to be able to describe a dream to another person and have them dream the same thing. Let's be real. Wow. We can only get close to it. Maybe we can try some like experimenting lucid dreamings or something, but it won't. It's be your dream. It'll be your perspective and my perspective. Yeah. You know, and it's never going to be that we're not going to be in the same essence like that. You know, at least while we're here, we don't know how it's going to be, you know, when we're with Jesus and stuff. But, you know, but that's why it's so important for us to just let go sometimes. Yeah. You know, it's not going to be as perfect as you would like it to be, but it's done. And then from there, it becomes a baseline, and you build upon that. Each time you do it differently. Each time you do it better. After every project, literally give yourself 3 ups and 3 downs. What that means is 3 things that need to be sustained and 3 things that need to be improved upon, and act on it. Do not just say, oh, that's the things that we know. No, act on it. You know, keep those things and change these things for the next time that you do it. Every time it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Yeah, there's going to be different problems that are going to come up, but there's going to be growth. You know, there's going to be that. And with that, you're going to see that everything is going to grow. And the people that you're with are going to grow too. You know, it's like how they say when the tide raises, the whole ship raises. You know, so whoever's on that ship is going to come up too. You know, so but those are the things that we have to keep on doing. Those are the things that it's like no matter what. Like this group, 2024. I got to give a shout out to 2024 season. They made all these films after a hurricane. It was after some of them didn't even have power. Wi-Fi or anything like that. That's why 2024 holds a special place in my heart when it comes to filmmaking. You know, so we're about to see all those films, and I always like want to give them a extra tilt of the brim of the hat, because it takes a lot to do that without power. You know, imagine trying to make a movie in a weekend, let alone without power. You know,
facts.
So it's wild. It's wild to go through that process, but on the real, it's so incredible just to for you to be a part of that, for you to see it, for you to experience it, and see all these faces. You know, this year around, we did get high schoolers. We did get people from UT. We get people now that are even coming from outside of Houston wanting to compete. You know. And they want their film to be shown here, you know, in the Houston crowd, the Houston audiences. So let's get prepared for that.
Let's get it. Put the camera on the wide real quick. Do y'all see this man right here? He is dropping gems. He's giving lessons. I hope you're taking notes. This turned into a completely amazing session. This is fire. You telling me some stuff that I need to truly hear and really just adhere to, because battling that perfectionism, you know, when it comes to producing. So that's powerful. So thank you again. We're about to make a quick transition real quick to a little game called Underrated or Overrated.
All right.
Underrated.
Hey.
Overrated. What?
Underrated. Hey. Overrated. Oh, yeah. Ain't no more. Okay.
Okay. For real. Okay, so underrated or overrated is a game that, you know, I just like to kind of wrap up the episode with, where I throw out a few categories and you let me know if it's underrated or overrated in a matter of 7 seconds. Theatrical plays.
Oh man, they're so underrated. I feel like theatrics is where it all started, and theatrics was where we need to go to in cinema.
Oh, come
7 seconds, right? You said 7 seconds?
You on the okay, come on. First guest on the road. Let's get it. Okay. Hollywood.
Oh, definitely overrated. We're seeing post-era on strikes and everything like that. We're seeing that big media is falling down, and we're going back to indie films.
Ooh, you said come on. You said another one.
Second.
I don't even know how many seconds that was. There had to have been 4.
I'm looking for the buzzer.
I need to find a buzzer. There's a time stopper right there, but that's for 10 minutes. We can't use that one.
That could be
Okay, let's see. ChatGPT.
Oh, that's going to be very overrated. Again, I'm going to say that right now with AI, you're taking away from the essence of art, which is the heart. And the moment that I know that people like to interdict and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I put in the info, but it's not what the output was. Someone else put it. So it's in other words, if you tell me a whole story and I write the script, then it's my script, not yours.
Talk about from the script. Wait a minute.
From the script. Let's go from the script Fridays. That's how that works.
I gotta sit right there for a second, because ChatGPT became one of my best friends.
I know.
But
it's
I see
almost
where
like
you're coming from, though, because I have the level of creativity has decreased in certain areas, so I have to turn it on and turn it off when needed. I have to use ChatGPT for certain things, but I cannot use it for creative projects at all.
It's in the title. It's like artificial intelligence. So if you want artificial creativity, then there you go.
Ooh.
Go get that. Go get that. Go get that.
Shots fired.
From the hip.
Okay, the last one.
All right.
Tubi.
Like Tubi, I think it's underrated. You know, like there's a lot of great content on Tubi. I feel like there's gonna be a real big come up on it just because it's an accessible platform for everyone to be able to put their stuff on. And I feel like people are harnessing their quality a lot more, other than just putting them on like YouTube and things like that. They're really sharpening their swords with Tubi. You know, so it's really gonna. And the same thing I feel with like public access too. You know, it's like, you know, this is what the community needs. They need to see a lot more art from the community, and I feel like that's what we're getting right now.
That's powerful. Ooh, well, I can definitely say that you have been the first guest that has mastered answering either underrated or overrated and giving me the reason why in a matter of 7 seconds. So round of applause for you, cuz.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was fire. Well, oh my goodness, please, thank you again so much for joining me today. Like, I truly appreciate all of the information that you shared, giving me insight about who you are and just really peeling back those true layers. Please let everyone know where they can connect with you. If there's anything else that you want to share or you felt led on your heart to share with the viewers.
Definitely. Anyone that's inspiring to do stuff, you know, don't be afraid to pivot. That term is very much used in the business world and especially in marketing and advertising. But really what that means is don't be afraid to begin to do something differently, to change ways or look at something else. Because that's what happened to me. Like I kept pivoting, and next thing you know, it's like I pivot to a pretty cool position in the city, you know. So it was, I came from all these different backgrounds of how we talked about athlete, being a veteran, to turning into a writer, to turning into a filmmaker, and going to school to learn how to do filmmaking, and then find the way to bridge the gap between filmmaking and live production, and from live production to being on set to now being a full-fledged producer. So it like, I did not know that this was going to be the route that I was going to take. I thought that I was going to be a garbage man once upon a time, and maybe I'll retire and do that.
But so you're going to be retired sitting in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's the
sipping a mojito.
There you go. And then with a señorita too. I got to be there with a señorita.
You have to toss that in.
Hey, you got to throw that in there because I'm not going to go at this alone. You know, I got to be well companioned throughout the whole time. You know? So, you know, all of these, and again, that's a pivot too. You know, you never know what's going to come up. Don't be afraid of opportunities. Don't be afraid to take a step back. Yeah. A lot of times we want to be stubborn and always be pushing forward, but how that saying goes, to shoot an arrow, you have to pull back on the bow. Ooh, right? That's so a lot of times take a step back and then see where it is that you want to go, and enjoy what you do. It's easier for you to give up on something you don't like doing. It's going to be very hard for you to give up on something you love. Very difficult. So challenge yourself to continue to dream, go towards it, keep going towards that, because at the end of the day, you don't want to turn back and say, you know, man, I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have pursued that, because what happens is then that becomes an internal struggle for you. Yeah. And then it becomes a part of you because you can't let it go. And remember, these things are called memories for a reason. And a memory is a part of you. It's part of your mind. It's a wedge. It's one of those crevices in your brain. You know, so now everything that comes up in your memory, make sure it's a good one. Make sure it's a positive one. Make sure that that's going to drive you in the right direction. So then that way, when anything happens to you, it comes from you, you know, and it's a positive outreach to everyone.
Wow. I love that. Thank you so much. Let everyone know where they connect with you.
Connect with me. Here, well, I'll give you the 48-hour email address. It's houston@48hourfilm.com. You can look up Nano Muñoz on Facebook or on Instagram. That's NanoMunoz. There you go. You can look for me there and hit me up. I really do like hearing what everyone's doing. There's a lot of projects that I'm working on for the community, especially in production. Alfred gave me the kind of wink to be able to start structurizing some of our productions, our sets, just because our industry is growing. I don't know if everyone's been seeing, but our media industry is growing, and there's some great things and not so great things that happen on set. We won't get into all of that, but we can again see the example from Hollywood and these bigger conglomerate cities with media. There's people in position that have been taking advantage of other people. So we have this program it's coming up. I'll let you guys know. It's called Not on This Set. And what that does, it gives everyone on set a voice to stop production when they see any kind of act of sexual harassment, discrimination, any unsafe act, anything that doesn't require an assistant director to yell cut. You have that voice on set, so then that way every set is safe, it's secure for people to express themselves and really like put out their art, and we have to do this for Houston. Do not let anyone outside of our city, of our beautiful city, outside of Texas, to tell us how to run shop here.
Come on.
Let's establish the culture here. Let's build that foundation, and then from the ground up, we can really blossom.
I love that.
And there's one more thing. I gotta shoot it out real quick. So then there's we're going to house all this stuff under a nonprofit organization. It's called Make Way Collective, and that's really what it is making way. Sometimes it's make way, you got to get out the way, or sometimes you got to make the way for somebody else to go through. And this is all going to be housed, the NOTS program, it's going to be housed on the nonprofit. So then we're already talking with Houston Community College to start receiving graduate students into our curriculum. And we're going to be bridging the gap between our graduating students to include some interns. And we're gonna start bumping it out into to second chance programs. So then that way we can start training our workforce to be media professionals, right? And media leaders too. We need the media leaders.
Come on. The Trailblazer is doing its thing, and you are literally blazing trails and creating a path for people to follow. So this is amazing. This has been a true pleasure having you here. Like, I appreciate you coming on again. Thank you so much, y'all. Oh my goodness. This has been a wrap for From the Script. Please be sure to stream From the Script on all platforms that are below, time after time after time after time after time. Okay? So remember, for all of my viewers and listeners out there, remember to be bold, don't fold, and come through the fire as gold. We out.